Alright, so we're going to learn how to render fat. I've got some fat off of pork chops that we had the other night. Some of them were really fatty actually, a couple of pieces. This is pork that we get from a local farmer, and we were down to the ends on one of the things we took out of the freezer. So we got a bunch of fat. I also got some homemade bacon made from the same pork. These are just some odds and ends of the bacon actually, the worst parts as well. You can see I already trimmed off a bit of fat here. I'm just going to trim some extra fat off of this bacon and put it in here, and that way my rendered fat will have a smoky flavor to it as well, which makes it nice for just spreading on bread or something like that. So basically just trim an extra fat here. There's not much extra fat on this piece here, but I will slice this bacon up and fry it in the fat as I render it too, and you can see it's very smoked very well. And if I just fry that in there afterwards, it's going to give a nice smoky flavor to the fat as well. Here's a piece. There's a little bit more fat on here. You don't got to worry too much if you get a piece of meat. Look, there's a piece of meat on that fat. No big deal. As you fry that meat will fry up, and you can pick it out and eat it as you're frying it. It's really yummy. I believe that's in Newfoundland they call that scrunchions when you do that. It's really yummy. Alright, so I'm just taking this and cutting up the fat fairly small. You can do it big pieces, it just takes longer to render. The smaller you cut it up, it's basically more surface area exposed to the heat of the frying pan. So the smaller you cut it up, the quicker it'll render. And you know, there's little pieces of meat in here, no big deal, that'll fry in there. And I'll pick it out as I'm frying it and eat it. It's really yummy. As I was saying, if I'm not mistaken, that's what in Newfoundland they call scrunchions when you do that. Alright, so now I'm going to turn on the stove. I find you want a fairly low heat for rendering fat. Just hot enough to melt the fat, but not much hotter. And you don't want it burning, certainly. So I find about the same as what you would use for pancakes. On my stove it's just shy of 4 is what I use for pancakes. And that's what I use for rendering fat. And I just take all my fat. You can see I got it all chunked up here. And I just toss it in the pan. And basically it does all the work now. You do want to keep I keep a spoon handy, and you just basically keep it turning, you know, as it heats up. It's going to take a few minutes to warm up here. You can see it just beginning to melt a little bit in there. Yeah, that's all there is to it. You just keep doing this and keep doing that, and we'll show you as it progresses. Alright, it's crackling away here, melting up. You can see that there's fat collecting up in the bottom. You can definitely see that. This stuff is browning up. It smells really good. It smells like bacon, of course, because I picked all of the fat now off of this bacon of mine. There's a tiny bit left here, but I'll fry that later, face down like this. But there are little bits of the bacon fat in there, so it smells very smoky bacon now. And what I'm going to do in the end is fry these, cut that one a little bit thinner, and fry them in there to get the last bit of fat off of there, but also to cook them a little bit better. Probably have that for breakfast maybe. So you just keep doing this, and these pieces will get smaller and smaller. You got to keep it moving, or it can stick to the pan. Not so much now. In the beginning, it's more important. Now it shouldn't be too bad. You know, you can leave it unattended for a minute. As long as you get your heat on low, it's not going to burst into flames or anything. And you just keep doing that, and we'll come back once it gets down a little bit further. Alright, you can see it's getting down quite a bit further. The bits that are left are getting very small and crunchy. although there are some good sized pieces of fat left in there. You can see it's starting to get a little bit blacker. I'm actually going to just ease the heat down a little wee bit just to make sure we're not burning anything. There's a fair bit of oil building up in there. I don't know how much, maybe 1/4 of a centimeter or so of fat that's built up in there. And we'll just keep it going like this, and I'll report back in a bit. So I had to edge the heat right back up again. Turning it down actually was just a little bit down too far. So I edged it back up to 4, or just shy of 4 on my stove. Now you see this one is actually burnt. So I'm just going to go in here fishing for ones that are really black. That one's not too bad. It's not too bad in here at the moment. This one is getting kind of black. So I'm just going to fish those out. And keep the blacker ones fished out. Alright, so when the sizzling stops, you can see there's really not any sizzling going on in here anymore. That means you've pretty well rendered all the fat. You can also see there's a bit of smoke coming off of it, so it is starting to burn a little bit. There's several ways you can take care of it now. I could get a spoon in there and spoon out all the scrunchions and set them aside. You know, a couple of different options. I've got this stainless steel canning funnel that I got from Lee Valley, and I gotta go get my glove. Hold on. I got my UV glove for holding on to the pan, and I've got this little strainer here, and all you gotta do is, well, you gotta do a better job than that, especially when you're pouring hot fat. All you have to do is, I think I have the glove on the wrong hand so that you guys can see what's going on. Alrighty. Turn the heat off while I'm thinking of it. Actually, I'm going to need the heat back on in a minute to fry my stuff. So basically, I just pour that through here. You would definitely not want to do that with a plastic canning funnel. I think you can well imagine what would happen in that circumstance. You are going to melt your plastic canning funnel, make a big mess, and potentially scald yourself with very hot fat. So that's not a good idea. So I just put all those scrunchions, and those scrunchions are a delicacy. Oh sure, they're fatty. A little bit of fat don't kill you. If you ate those every day, I'd be worried. Even if you ate them once a week, I'd be worried. But as often as I do this, is not very often. Oh my. Oh my, oh my. Scrunchions. So I'm going to turn this back on, turn the stove back on, set my scrunchions aside, let them cool down a bit, and I will definitely eat more of those. I accidentally got a couple of scrunchions into my pan here, into my jar, but that's no big deal. I'm actually going to put my oil back in here. Strain it through to get the scrunchions out. And I'm going to fry my bacon. Just like that, in the deeper oil, in the deeper fat. So I have this one piece that's really thick and fairly uniform. That's going in there first. I won't keep it in there long. I just want to give it a little cook. Get whatever fat is in the piece of meat out of there. I think I'm going to need something else here in terms of a utensil. A fork maybe. If you're going to have bacon, you might as well do it right. Now, mainly why I'm doing this, there will be a little bit of fat that comes off of here. I just want to give my fat a little bit of a smoky flavor, so I'm cooking my bacon in it. I also am not convinced, I don't remember, but I don't think this bacon had been fully cooked. I think it was smoked and not fully cooked, which means I also want to take these. These are basically pre-cooking, these dishes. I'm going to get rid of those. I have a fresh plate that's clean. I don't have to worry about cross-contamination from pre-cooking to post-cooking.